Hello there. How are we? So there's not going to be much of an intro in regards to the Earth's dimensions because there's much more important issues to be concerning ourselves with right now. We don't need to care about where we are or how we got here. What we need to be bothering about is fear and anxiety and stress based on concepts and ideas of man, of our existence and how we should live and what we should treat as important and relevant, and yada yada. So there's not going to be much discussion in that regard right now because there's much more burning, serious issues to be speaking about here. So, obviously it's came to my attention that there's ancient wisdom and ancient knowledge that's been spread unbeknownst to me in regards to toilet roll and its nutritional values. So I see that there's many people panic buying and rushing in and buying toilet rolls. The more informed people, the more ones with more wisdom, they're opting for the options with like aloe vera and coconut oil and stuff like that, within the toilet roll, because obviously there's a greater nutritional value. So I think we should have a discussion about that. I think toilet roll is the new wheel, and I think apparently, it must be applicable to all avenues of existence. So if you're going to panic buy toilet roll, my advice to you is to go for the higher nutritional value toilet roll and opt for the aloe vera option. So, I'm serious, very serious. Hello, how are we? See, I must have missed the memo. It's obviously because I've been so delusional and focused on where I actually am and all that stuff, and people were telling me there's much more important issues, and I've missed it. I hold my hands up. I am now lacking in toilet roll. So I'm probably going to starve to death, die of thirst maybe, because I just don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how you're going to survive either. I'll pay you a tenner for a roll of bog paper with aloe vera. Not only is it nutritional, it's good for your skin. Makes your arsehole soft, it'll make your inside soft. Soft to the touch. Smooth. So, never mind where you are. Never mind understanding linguistic, twists on your reality and removing your foundation of where you actually are and what you're a part of. None of that matters. You need to be in fear. Okay, so let's get some other facts up here, shall we? Okay, so what we need to get here, we need to get the facts here. So the annual number of deaths by cause, we've got cardiovascular disease at 17.65, cancers at 8.9, respiratory at 3.5, diabetes at 3.1, dementia at 2, got lower respiratory infections, neonatal deaths, diarrheal diseases, road incidents, 1%, liver disease, tuberculosis, kidney disease, yada yada yada, all the way down to natural disasters. So there's a big long list of things that you can be scared of death by, right? Not just cornholius virus and maybe eating too much toilet paper. That's probably going to appear on the list soon. Number one cause of death in 2020, toilet roll. Every fucker's trying to eat it. So if we look at this, right, just to put it in perspective for you, all this fear of death, oh, everybody's up in arms, I'm going to die, oh, what do you think you're going to live forever? This is how they get you by the fucking scrotal, right? By being scared of weirdie. Of the big unknown, I'm going to die, ooh, it's a big scary mystery, I'm going to die, it's fuck all you can do about it. You're not going to live forever, right? So just to put it in perspective for you, all this listing these causes of death and all that, many people do we think have lived, we'll just go for 300 years, we'll go 5, go for a nice round number. How many people do you think have lived and died in 500 years? That's a massive, massive amount. Not only us, if you take all sentient life into that equation, right, then we can put right at the top of the list, to put all the rest into perspective, just so that it alleviates the fears and the anxiety. The number one cause of death was being born. So this is how they get you, right? Because you're delicate, you're on a wee potato rock, sipping through the vacuum. No rhyme or reason to it. It's so a big hairy, scary, helter-skelter ride. Oh no rhyme or reason to it. I'm disempowered and there's nothing I can do, little old me. I just need to eat myself up with my own narcissistic tendencies and fucking desperate, insecure needs. You gotta die anyway. Right? As I say, they've got you in a state of fear and anxiety, having you spinning and wobbling in some idiotic conceptual reference frame that you call reality, which is not grounded in anything real whatsoever. And then they feed you stories about your existence and where you came from and all this rubbish, right? And then they can get you with Cornholius virus, and everybody is fucking eating themselves and eating each other to get to the toilet roll aisle. Now, I've got questions about this toilet roll again. Maybe I just missed it. Hang on a second. So again, I must have missed it, but I've been thinking, was there some implanted aspect, because I pay absolutely no attention to mainstream whatsoever. The only bits I get is wee bits in the radio when I'm in the car, right? And even at that, it's very little. So I'm beginning to wonder, is it a social engineered aspect where, you know, the social engineers have implanted some sort of trigger so that they can see that it's working by, you know, implanting a need for toilet roll? Is there some sort of subliminal messaging going on in the mainstream media that I've not quite picked up on, right? And as soon as corona or Cornholius virus is mentioned, everybody is fucking jumping to the bog roll aisle. It's working, lads. Look at them. Look at the state of the daft cunts. Look at the utter fucking stupidity. Not only do they believe they live on a fucking absurdity, as soon as we mention something scary, they're jumping and buying toilet roll in copious amounts. What we got left to look forward to the rest of 2020? Facebook used to be about taking pictures of your dinner. People aren't going to have any food left to eat. What we got to get? Endless pictures of toilet roll. What are you having for your dinner tonight? Quilted for my comfort. Full sheets. Aren't I fucking lavish? Washing it down with a cup of my own piss. So it's a very serious matter. Very, very serious. If you wish to talk about Cornholius virus and your obsessive need for fucking toilet roll, please send me an email. I'm dying to hear from you. Please get in touch. Join me live. If anybody wants to join me live, please send me an email. I will try and refrain from ripping the pish, but if you're stupid, I'm probably not going to be able to help myself. If it upsets you, bring your many rolls of bog roll to dry your eyes. Anyhow, what's the next Andrex advert going to be? Just a blank screen. Coronavirus. And then a picture of a fucking toilet roll. No need for cute puppies anymore. Cute puppies is out the window. Fear of death. Toilet roll. Oh, look at the lovely puppy. Fuck that. You're gonna die. Buy toilet roll. Wish I'd fucking invested my 20 quid spare that I've got in Andrex 2 weeks ago. I'd be on my way to fucking getting that Life in the Sun. I wouldn't be far away. So this is the kind of thing. Stop talking about the shape of the earth. What does it matter? It's much more important stuff. I've got stuff I need to learn. So please impart your wisdom. How are we all? JD, Stephen Watson, John, Uppercut, One Man, He's Detector, Leighton, Gravy Bear, Don, Keith Anthony, Rob Carey, Clever Cat, Bates, R. Green, Stuart Lundy. Beyond the Magic Curve, I published a short video earlier of the shelves in my local supermarket. It's a joke, but it also shows the insecure mindset of people focusing on mainstream media. Exactly, Stuart Lundy. Dan was here, Crazy Polish Man, he said the same. He was in Lidl and took a video of Lidl, and it was the exact same. This is why I'm asking, is there some subliminal implant for social engineers to make sure that their wee plans are working? And the sign is everybody is buying fucking toilet roll. Here's the thing, you bunch of lazy bastards. Once you've done a shit, you can wash your buttocks. You're never going to be able to eat toilet roll. What are you going to do when the military's on the street? Throw toilet roll at them? Huh? Is this a dirty protest? We're in prison, so what's prison rules? Toilet roll's the fucking prized commodity now. Huh? What you got to do? Wipe yourself and then throw it at the soldiers? Huh? Put toilet roll around you so that it deflects the bullets and all that? Is that what you've got to do? Maybe you're going to use it to hunt some animals or something, I don't know. Maybe there's Illuminati knowledge about toilet roll that I've been missing. Fearless Boris Chops, the captain. Oh, Natural, Natalie, Clever Cat, Tony T, Perfection. Boris Chops, I said that, didn't I? Pat Mustard, Neil Williams, Nicholas, Doogie, David Marks, Selin Alien, E.R. Jambo. Many lifetimes you gonna live, E.R. Jambo? Tanya, how you doing? Andrew Calvert, David Marks, Tony Dixon, Nikon, FX, Tasty Wheat, Tracy Storia, World Without Curve, Lael Isabella, Lewis McCrobb, Siddy, how you doing? I messaged you back, mate. Well, you better check your emails. Party Pack, how you doing? Nicholas Chilster Deluxe, Calvin McDonald, Sick, 2712, Objective Realist, Tom Gothier, Flat Earth Preacher, Stephen Crumley. No, I never heard anything from Mr. Professor Simon, Rob. Diddly squat. I'm never going to hear anything from any of these people. They're not genuine. And if they watch for 5 minutes, they're going to realise that they're not going to get away with their sophist bullshit. So, there's no physicists stepping forward in reality either. Because real people who understand practicality are never going to step forward to defend bendy oceans, bendy water, Euclidean geometry being applied to curved surfaces, or any of that stuff. Ever. So, I highly doubt that some tinterweb professed professor is going to show up. Tony T, the captain. How are we all doing? Just in the woods. Right, what else did I have to say? Did I write anything else? There are a few things I was going to talk about. We're talking about, you know, people have been talking about evolution. I was showing a wee bit of that the other night. I'll maybe get to that, but as I say, I'm more interested in the Saturday night to hear what you've got to say. So, by all means, you need to send me an email. I'm going to check it right now. Hang on. I wonder if Google will tell me. There's actually something here on Quora. Does toilet paper contain calories? Fuck, there you go. There is a clue. Part of the toilet paper is mostly made of sugar. So yes, toilet paper contains calories, however, the human digestive system cannot make use of those calories. Bummer. Well, I suppose it will clean you from the inside out. Bonus. Maybe that's the key. Maybe it's like a colonic irrigation fucking type technology that I've missed. So people talk about evolution and yada yada, and we hear this common thing that all life, the complexity of life as we know it today, came from a common ancestor, right? So when we look at systems and we look at how things decay through time, you know, that's what happens. Things degrade, things tend towards less, things, you know, go in that kind of ilk. That's what reality shows us. So when we're talking about these things like common ancestors, for one common ancestor would have to have been vastly complex. You know, it must have had all the information to be able to produce the complexity of life that we see right now, which to me, it's a wee bit far-fetched. And you start thinking common ancestors, and there may be more, then maybe we can have a look at that, because as I say, you know, maybe things started from, you know, a higher point and it's tending towards less, and this is the era that we live in right now. You know, so it would have been more advanced and more pristine at a time, you know, gone by. You know, there's also the other aspect that, you know, we're always talking about finite areas of existence. So you look at the complexity of life, the different races of peoples, you know, and they come out with all this bullshit, oh, we all came from one common ancestor. Well, that's fine if you're going to say that, but this thing must have been fucking complex to fuck, right? You know, it must have contained all that information and all that possibility and all that coding, protein coding, all that kind of stuff. It had to have had all that, right? But I just don't see that. You know, I'm not saying that it's not the case, it could be, right? But the way they're telling it is utter bullshit. So we go from single-celled organisms. This is the absurdity of it, right? You get single-celled organisms that have got a limited, you know, information. But again, we've got information in there, so where did it come from? Your fucking suit and lightning and stuff's right, whatever. I'll grant you that. How did it get more complex? You know, how did these mutations get more complex? How was new stuff added to this shit? Right? Because that's what has to happen. It's kind of like saying, well, if I leave it a rubber tyre lying there, in a billion years, it's going to be a Ferrari. Just cause reasons. It's fucking preposterous. Right? So you've got an issue there of this single-celled gibberish getting more complex to a point, and then all of a sudden at this point, this common ancestor, this accumulation of all mutations, starts spewing out all the complexity of life as we know it right now. Utter rubbish. So you need, for me, I start thinking about other possibilities. You know, I always play with that idea. Is there other areas? Is there other areas that our true ancestors or our ancestral line comes from, and they don't even know we're here? Maybe they're in some sort of lockdown. There could be so many possibilities to it. Again, the reason I just highlight it is just because of the sheer absurdity of these mainstream fucking stories that they try and pump out there and say it in all seriousness, like it's got some sort of validity. It's fucking gibberish, incoherent, inconsistent rubbish. Information comes from mind. Life is information. Reality is information. How did it all get here? No reason. Just fucking no reason whatsoever. Just abracadabra. Nothing. Everything. What else was I saying about that? Anyway, we'll come back to that. It's not really that relevant. Fuck it. I'm trying hard not to be in piss take mode, to be honest with you. It's very difficult. Right, where do we go? Right, I've got somebody calling me a coward cunt, asking for a link. Nice way to get started. Let's see what this person's got to say, shall we? Great Saturday evening. Stretching my fucking capacity of contemplation and thought by stating I'm a coward cunt. This person better have something great to say. I'm hugely intrigued. Anyhow, so this cornholiest bollocks, obviously anybody with any ounce of fucking discernment knows that there's a bigger picture going on here. So many people have got many theories about what's going on. One thing's for sure, if it continues the way it is, as I've said so many times before, people talk on about money controls your world and this, that and the other. Food controls people. First and foremost, you can't eat money. Right? Food is what sustains you, and that's what you need to put your focus on. Right? So if things start to get problematic, people are going to start turning on each other, because people have been used to, you know, an easy life. I just nick to the shop and I've got a wee packet of stuffs and that's me sorted. People have lost how to sustain themselves, what to do in any kind of situation of lack. So what's going to happen? And all these morons that are holding stuff are just making themselves targets, particularly the ones that are shouting about it. Because if it gets to a point or a situation of there is a lack, these people are going to be the targets. So if you're taking measures and looking after yourself, don't tell any cunt. Don't tell them you've got it. But I can see a chain reaction of events coming from this. This isn't the thing. This is just a trigger. Anyhow, I can hear noise. Is this the person that's calling me a cunt?
Right, hi.
Aye, what is it, cunt?
Right, I'm fucked off that I've called you and you've doxed me 3 fucking times.
Shut up, you prick.
Don't.
Doxed you? What does it mean doxed you? Putting your address in? You're in China, you daft cunt. How the fuck?
You don't have to fucking say it online, though, do you?
What, you're in China?
You fuck. Yes,
well,
I'm in China.
You've told everybody you're in China, you daft bastard.
Right, I'll tell you. Do you want to know about China? What's going on?
No.
Nothing.
Brilliant. Is that it?
I'm here.
Is that it, you mad alky bastard?
Oh, right. Okay, right. Let me calm down for a second. Right.
I suggest that you do.
So, yeah, I'm going to. Okay. Right. Let me calm down. Let me light a cigarette like you do. Let's go for it.
That's it.
Right. Coronavirus. I don't know. Right. It's supposed to be here in China. That's where I am. And it's destroying. I've got 3 businesses here, and I'm on my fucking knees.
I thought you said nothing was happening. I thought you said nothing was happening.
No, there isn't. That's what I mean. I'm on my knees because I'm a school teacher. Where's my kids? They can't come to school.
Right.
I've got dogs to sell. Who's going to buy dogs from China?
Dogs?
Anybody want to buy a 3,000 dog from China?
But are you selling them so that these cunts can eat them?
It's oh my god, man.
Is it pets?
Okay, let me.
Pets are food.
Right. Del. I was talking to Phuket World earlier on. Right. Let me calm down for a second.
You've got about 30 seconds.
I'm not.
You've got about 30 seconds.
I'm angry with you for doxing me and telling people my fucking name and my email online.
G Watt in China? G Watt in China?
Yes.
You've told everybody yourself, you maniac. You've got about another 10 seconds to say something relevant and stimulate my fucking mind, or you're going to fuck.
If you hang up on me one more time like this, then oh my god, I don't understand why you do that. Do you want people just on that are going to fight with you about whether the Earth's flat?
No.
Do you want to have a
fuck off? As soon as you say I better know, sure as fuck I'm going to hit that button. You silly sausage. Right? No, I don't want people on here to fight. No, that stuff's. If you want to fight me, come and see me. Right, I'm on here on a Saturday evening, looking to have some decent conversation. You know, that means like we're listening to each other and we say something and we take it in and we play with it and we offer up our musings and yada yada. It's a kind of reciprocal type thing. I don't know if too many people are aware of the mechanics of healthy conversation. Great start. Chat. Very informative. Tate Mo22. Very informative. Can't wait to hear what this is about. A chat. Let's see. Tate Mo22. Link has been sent. Getting back to that point, as I say, the coronavirus thing and what's happening right now will have a knock-on effect. You know, it's going to affect, as you know, that man was talking about a wee second ago, there's all sorts of people who are dependent upon certain aspects to sustain themselves. You know, the money coming in, and you know, it's the same here in the UK with the sporting events. There's so many subsidiary aspects that depend on these things. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be put out with it. So right there and then you've got the trigger started for social unrest. Hello.
Hi, Del. How are you?
I'm good.
Can you hear me okay?
I certainly can.
Awesome. Well, firstly, it's very nice to talk to you. I have been watching your channel for a long time and think you're awesome, regardless of whether or not you'd like to hear it. First question is, are you familiar, or how familiar are you, I should say, with mud flood theory?
I've looked at it bits and bobs. There's buildings sunk into the ground and all that stuff, and there was a flood and the sediment settled and yada yada.
Okay.
That's a bit
how about the subject of giants and or titans?
Giants,
theory.
Big massive trees, mountains or tree stumps and all that. I heard it all.
Correct. Okay. Well, I don't know. It's obviously a questionable subject, difficult to get quantitative data on it without, I guess, DNA testing, you know, some of these objects. That could be a feasible way of going about it. There's an interesting channel, and it's done in a way that I think you would respect greatly. It is Stellium 7, and he's a gentleman in Spain. I believe It's Mount Montgo in Spain. And essentially, he has conducted a 5-part YouTube series that involves his research, extensive research on this mountain. And frankly, if I don't want to be daft, but if you don't come away knowing that that damn mountain it's an elephant, sure as day, after that series,
Right.
it's
So it's very interesting, and I like some of these musings and avenues that people pursue. But my question is always, what's the relevance?
none when it comes right down to it.
So
But that could be, I mean, it could also be argued. I mean, it gets into, you could obviously tie it to God's Eden. Perhaps that's theory.
Just so you understand. It's just so that people understand where I'm at, right? Right, okay. So if I go along with any of these stories and I entertain it and I put my attention to it and I go, oh God, and it's God's fucking Eden and this, that, and the other, and there was big giant stuffs and giant peoples and giant trees and blah, 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 blah. That doesn't get me any further. It really doesn't take me anywhere other than entertainment for my imagination. So, as I say, people are quite entitled to pursue these things, and I think people should pursue them. But for me personally, it doesn't really add anything for me.
It doesn't. It just doesn't float your boat, or
it's not that it doesn't float my boat. I'm always my question is, where am I? Why the fuck I'm here, and what I'm part of? Right, these bigger fundamental questions. So I'm always looking at these things to go, well, does that add anything? Does it take me any closer to establishing, the dimensions of the earth? What the parameters are? What's beyond it, if anything, or any of these things? And I always find that no, it doesn't. Because, again, for me, it's like, just keep me distracted. As I've said so many times before, the contents of the room are the contents of the room. Now, do any of these contents of the room offer me anything in regards to establishing further progress in the questions that I am pursuing? And the answer is no.
I would agree. It is a rabbit hole that can, and I would argue should probably be deemed unnecessary. But just the relevance of stellium is just it's a fact to me. So now it's something that I know, just the same as water is level. Mm-hmm. That mountain in Spain is an elephant. But I hear you in terms of, when it comes right down to it, how does it help me? How does it help my life? How does it help my family? How does it help my, walk in this world?
Can you imagine me going up to the university and trying to engage in, reasoning with people about, science and the language and what they take to be true, and then blotting out, oh, by the way, see that big mountain over there? That's actually an elephant.
Now, maybe it could be. I mean, think about the imaginative abilities, because obviously, as you mused earlier, it's a fanciful idea, but think about what that can do if we were to, let's say, become more of a right-brained type society in a way, or at least have that unleashed to its full potential. Because here in the States, we're eliminating arts, we're eliminating creative writing.
I like art being emotive expression. There's abstract art that just comes from imagination. I could say that about Santa Claus, but it's no use, and it's bullshit.
Now, I hate to interrupt, but I'm getting back into, if you were to approach a college student like that. So, if you could approach them with, well, this crystallized form that was found inside of this mountain that is a part of it has been shown to be organic. It has elephant DNA. Uh-huh. So we can prove that, yes, it is an elephant.
What if
but imagine that type of...
What if an elephant died at that bit? What if it's not that the mountain's an elephant? What if an elephant just died there?
Well, I'm saying if this piece, because within this stellium's work, he goes into the eye, and there is a crystalline formation within that eye. And I mean, it's crystal. So the theory is that that crystal is the former eye tissue, or the very soft tissue that wasn't bled out or completely destroyed.
But
So
rocks,
if you could,
rocks are made of crystal.
if you could, pardon?
But rocks are crystalline.
Correct, but this is, I agree, it's crystalline, but it could also be, I mean, that's the amazing thing, Dell, is once you start kind of scratching the surface of this, you start to see things that are a little bit differently. And I'm, if I may, and I'm going to, all right. This, my mom found this. Let's see. Going on 7 years ago. It's a rock, but it is a petrified heart as far as I'm concerned. And it's got the tissue around it. It has ventricles in places where the heart would have ventricles.
Right.
It's crystalline, and I'm willing to wager that once I decide to chip a piece of this away and test it in a DNA, it is doable. I haven't frankly gone about the details of that, but I would be willing to bet a good amount that that is a tissue and that this is organic, that it's not a rock, that it is truly a petrified heart, and that there are petrified objects all over this world.
Aye, well, there is petrified stuffs and whatever else, and hopefully, if people are pursuing something that they think they've got, then these people will approach academia and go to the universities. As I say, it's just not where my attention is, and for me, I pursue what's important to me and where I think progression would happen. So, it'll be interesting to see if anybody does take it any further.
Well, fair enough. I'm going to clear the line and allow the next caller, but it was fucking awesome to talk to you, man.
Anyways, cheers for coming on, mate. What are we going to find in fucking 200 years' time? Arses matted in toilet roll. Intestines matted in toilet roll. See that rock earlier? Aye. That used to be a human being, and there was a Cumholius virus, and everybody panicked and started eating toilet roll, and the population wiped themselves out by eating toilet roll. And the toilet roll fossilised their insides, and now it's in the rock. Look. Anyhow. Bible Book Club. That looks like the same wee picture as the guy I just had on. Let me see. Give it a couple of minutes just to check, but it definitely looks like the same image. So where was I there? I'll get to the next requests once I see what's happening here. How many cases of the Wu flu? Who gives a fuck? Well, I'm more concerned about their fucking mental state. Buying into it and being triggered by it, by the fear tactics. That should be the concern. Know how many people have got a fucking sniffles? I mean, even here in the UK, you had Boris Johnson on fucking mainstream TV. I watched it. You can go and check it yourself. Oh no, there's no need to worry. We're only concerned about the elderly and people with respiratory diseases. So, what's all this about then? What's really going on here? Now they're shouting, sporting events are off, no more gatherings of 500 people or more. But yet the majority of schools can take more than 500. Why are they not shutting the fucking schools down? Or can't have that. Can't have people all living in communities and talking to each other. Fuck that. We need to keep them going to work and keep the kids in fucking schools. It's just a start. It's not just that, you know, they're talking about fucking global warmings and all this rubbish and shave the rainforest and all that. Now they've got every cunt fucking panic buying bogro. That means that more trees are going to die. So, what's that about? People just don't seem to have the ability to fucking discern and think through these things properly. That's it, flat enough. As I say, it's just a start. Wait till the discontent starts. And that's it, exactly. I say it's just social engineering, obviously. Seeing where they can push people to. And as I say, there must have been some subliminal in regards to the Luro situation. Exactly. Don't be using any of the Ruzzlers to wipe your ass or eat. Exactly, Happy Mushroom. Waiting for a link. There's a few people waiting for a link, so I'm just waiting. I'll get another 10 seconds. See if this person arrives, but they've not arrived, so I'm just going to shut that down. Go to the next one, which is BC Flat Earth Data. Hey there, Flat Smack Trade School. What people have no idea how far away is the horizon. I know. Because they've already been doing it, Flat Earth Data. You go to academia, students of academia, they don't know their ear hole from their arsehole. They're spouting all these beliefs and then you question it and it's just empty. Sidameth Etterfass. I don't read freaky deaky Dutch. So I'll just send you a link. Is that racist there or something? Was it? So I've been a racist. Don't speak freaky deaky Dutch. Oh no. Strike me down. Oh, it's yourself, is it? So oh well, I know you'll not take offence to that. Link's been sent. Will be more of an effort this year, Jacqueline. Definitely. Well, I heard them talking about the mandatory vaccines, but apparently I never had one. It was going to take 12 months or some shite, but all of a sudden, they can't mandatory vaccinate because you've got the right to medicate and do your own thing. They can't get away with imposing that as a mandatory. They'll try and make it out, and the way they'll word it will give people the impression that it's a demand or some obligatory thing that they have to partake in. But you just look at how they'll probably word it, because they can't make it mandatory, they can't force you to take anything. But the majority of people will jump straight in, no understanding the language, the sophistry involved, the propaganda, and fall for it hook, line and sinker. And again, they don't know what's in these things. No, I just sent you a link. It's definitely sent. I can see it. I'll send it again. It's on its way. That's twice I've sent it, mate. It's your dream to bump into me, Stuart, in the streets of Glasgow. Very high ambitions you've got there. No worries, silly, no worries. Right, I'll move on. Alwyn Bryan. Link sent. Gee, watch, you utter ego-driven cunt. I'm here in China, fuck you. Don't know what that means. No worries. You better stay off that drink, you're getting yourself all upset. It's not going to be good for you. Right, so I'm waiting on Alwyn. Or Alwyn. It's been a great evening so far. Fucking mind is stimulated to fuck. It's almost like an orgasm. It's tingling and everything. Nice cardigan. It's not a cardigan, it's a jumper. Are you daft? Can't tell the difference between a cardigan and a jumper. Don't know, Kerry skates. Flat Earth preachers put up $50,000 for anyone to show me bendy water and which way we spin. If you get 50 grand for that, fucking give me some of it. Never mind offering it up to things that you're never going to get a take on. About the road there, Australia News put out a piece about all Luro was made in China, and for people to expect shortages, the herd went full stampede mode. I think it's a fucking marketing campaign, as I say. These toilet roll manufacturers are fucking, it's just all of us, they're the superpower. The new Illuminati is the toilet roll manufacturers. They instantly, overnight, have all the power, all the dosh. Run a book called Me a Transsexual. I'm not that one swept and interesting. It's just plain old cock and balls, I'm afraid. Keep telling these people if you get any doubts, I'll teabag them. They can come here, have a teabagging so they can get a close inspection. But there's no jiggery pokery down there. It's all real. Cock and balls is real. A good teabagging will prove it to you. I must be the first transsexual male, female to male that's fathered children. Anyhow, these people are mentally ill. Fuck them. Children watching whoops. I can't believe that. Surely there's no people letting their children watch me. Not on a Saturday evening. Surely. Shows your hips. Stop talking about the shape of the earth, Dale. It's much more important things. Shows your hips. What kind of toilet roll do you eat? Oh, it's alright, Neil McCrub, it's only words. I'm sick of this fucking snowflake culture. Oh, we need to protect the children, we need to shelter them from this, shit and the other. What? Fill them full of fucking lies and gullibility, naivety, and warp their minds into a fantasy realm that's just no reality, so that when they grow up and start being affected by it, it fucks them right up. That's what we should do. Tell them fucking stories, wrap them in cotton wool, fill their heads full of fantasy, and then when they become adults, it's not going to harm them. Don't say fuck, don't say shit, bugger, or cunt, or any of that stuff around the children. Snake hips, that's right, Stuart Robertson. You can watch me mincing down the street. Mincing with my big glassy hips. My big gilly hips mincing up and down Glasgow town centre. With my meat and two veg all pumped up. Got a wee pump. That's how Emma's always got a smile on her face. It's got a great valve in it. Once I get it up there and it's stoating hard, that's it. The valve doesn't leak a fuck all. Goes all night. Fucking brilliant. So, catch me mincing up and down Glasgow, Buchanan Street or whatever. You know, you can watch my hips and I'll show you my fucking device. It's no Globe Trolls tonight. Yeah, we're no here denying the nutritional value of toilet roll either, so I must be spot on with that. Obviously that's mainstream narrative. Toilet roll has nutritional value, so they don't have any qualms with that. There's no industry under threat. I'm actually promoting it. So, you know, not the Globe. You know, I threaten the Globe. I threaten that industry and the investments in it. You know, not only psychologically for control mechanisms, but monetary gain also. So they don't feel threatened this evening. Until I start talking about idiotic notions of what they think is scientifical. I'm not angry and mean. Why are people so fucking delicate? You know what's happening here with the link? And that's the same again. And you got all this bullshit, these people in the comment sections, yet I'm live again. There's none of them here, all these experts. Why's your two celestial fucking spinny poles and all that rubbish? Polaris proves that the Earth's a globe. That's what's in my comment sections all the time. Celestial navigation proves that I'm on a sphere. No, it doesn't. It does not. I think you fail to understand and grasp what latitude and longitude was really about in regards to navigation, because it's a navigational tool. It's no that it's a three-dimensional spheroid that you're standing upon. I suggest you go and have a look. Stop spouting rubbish in my comment sections, hoping to influence the gullible. Yet, when I'm live, no show, nothing, tumbleweeds. Alan's saying he's no joining No, I want you to be in debates. Lots of people are watching modern day debate. You'll get more viewers if you debate someone there. I'm not interested in getting more viewers, Alwyn. I'm not here to win the world by having viewers on YouTubes. That's just not my bag. It's not a debate either. People who are partaking in debates are fucking retards. I went onto a debating platform once to tell them exactly what I thought of them. And that was it. These people are free to come and meet me in person, come on my platform, and no debate anything. Just state their claim and then demonstrate it. It's very, very simple. I don't know what all the hullabaloo is about in regards to debates. I'll tell you what it's about. It's about greedy, lying bastards trying to keep the attention of bewildered stupids so that they offer them up money. So I'm sorry, Alwyn Bryan, I shall not be partaking in any of that jobby. Right, Jacob Pirucello, whatever that is, you want to ask me a question about Kent Hovind. So interesting. Link is sent. Jacob. Right. I need another smoke. The conversation is that stimulating, it's making me want to smoke more. Who's triggered where? What's happening? Shills we shills, that's the one, that's the account that me as a tranny and all that stuff. Don't know what that's about. Obviously, you know, you're just putting out falsities for people. And it's still there. Whatever. Knock yourself out. Something happened to Kent Hovind. Kent Hovind was on it in the early days before he got the jail, and then he came out a shadow of his former self, and now he's spouting idiotic gibberish about globular earths, retarded, abstract, conceptual rubbish about our reality, and he's talking about fucking ice spheres surrounding it and all this stuff. I mean, he's fucking lost the plot. Something happened to him. He's not the same man that he was. So I say I actually had respect for his content back in the day. No, I don't. Hello there.
Hi Dell, how are you?
Not bad, man.
Good. Yeah, just a quick question on Kent Hovind. I know you talked about him a couple days ago. I watched a video on him a while back, and he explained that how this whole universe was created. I don't know if he used universe, but how everything was created, and he said it was a trinity. He's explained it by saying how all we know is time, space, and matter. Those are the three things. He called it a trinity. And with time, space, and matter, he said that there's a trinity of trinities. He said time is past, present, future, space, length, width, height, matter, solid, liquid, gas, and that's everything that we understand and we know. Mm-hmm. And he also said how one of them couldn't be created without the other, because if there was space and matter, when would you put it? If there was, you know, so he was explaining how everything had to be simultaneously created. I don't know, I just want to get your thoughts on that.
He offers it up as some sort of finite type thing, because time's not a thing either. Time's just, you know, movement from one thing to the next. It's an interval. It's not really a thing, you know. It doesn't have a property. Same as space has no properties either. But it's just conceptual. Again, it's back to this whole thing. Why do these people put themselves up there as the knowers of creation and how it came to be? Because they're human beings the same as us. They're part of the effect. They're within it, you know. And the only thing we can understand is the effects. This thing affects this thing, and that causes that effect, and yada yada yada. But to get to the ultimate, the prime mover, the thing that gave rise to it all and how it came to be, and these people, you know, to assert it with any kind of confidence, for me, is absolutely preposterous and disingenuous. It's not healthy for the onlooker or the gullible, you know, or people out there that are asking questions. So I don't know why they do that type of thing. I don't know why they can't just deal with the position that we're in right now and move forward from there, you know. I mean, it all sounds good, and logically you can look at it and say, okay, I get some aspects of it, you know, his argumentation in that regard, but asserting that he knows how it came to be or whatever, it's just gibberish, as far as I'm concerned anyway.
Yeah, I agree. You know, we really don't know. It's not like we can go outside of this and see. You know?
I mean, it's like I say to people that come at me, you know, religious people and people with beliefs and stuff, and I say, okay, look, I can assess my reality, and obviously I can say, look, intelligence would have to be involved, because we're talking about information, complexity of information, you know, aspects of design and whatever else. I can realise that. But to then take a leap into saying that I know how that came to be is just absurd. I don't know why people feel the need to have to do that, other than egotistical, you know, reasons in order to put themselves in a higher stature so that they can milk people for their benefit, you know. So each to their own. I mean, I'm no judging him for it. He's entitled to do whatever he wants. But when it comes to the kind of questions and these assertions that are made, that I'm just going to highlight it for the nonsense that it is. You know, what's your thoughts on it? You know,
it made sense to me. It had some truth to it. You know, in regard of how everything that we do know are those things, and it kind of made sense. And I grew up in a Catholicism my whole life. So I went to church. I was an altar boy and everything. I don't go to church or anything anymore, but you know, I do believe that there is a creator, and it's a belief. You know, I know that. Mm-hmm. I have been questioning everything a lot in the last couple of years, but for me, I do think that we were created by someone. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But I think this is a creation of something.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, the disconnect for me with people like Kent Hovind and these people, because they talk about their God and they'll address it as something infinite. You'll hear Kent Hovind saying, "Well, God never had a cause. You know, God's always been the you know, it's the prime mover. It's the you know, the eternal, the infinite." But then he'll say things like that about time, which, you know, places some sort of finite aspect to what we're a part of here. As I say, time's not a thing in of itself. You know, all we have is relationships between one thing and another, you know, and we attribute that as a man-made structure that we call time. You know, but
created it as a concept. It's basically, right?
The bigger picture of their philosophical view, it's absurd, because to place something finite upon something that you're professing is infinite and eternal is a contradiction. You know, so, but we experience birth and death. So we've got this movement transition from one point to another point that we can place increments upon that we call time. You know, and that's what and that they kind of concepts bring you into the realms of finite limitation, you know, when you start applying it. But in the reality, the bigger picture, you know, there can't be any time as we perceive it, or we try and think of it. It's just because we experience a sequence of events and transitions that we put increments in between that. You know, same as any metric system. You know, it's like, well, 1 millimeter, you know, 10 millimeters equals a centimeter, and blah, 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 blah. They're just man-made concepts and constructs to deal with reality. But time in of itself is not a thing. You can't bring it and show me it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know if I'm making
Right.
that clear, but it's
Right.
So there's a lot of contradictions with people like that. As I seen the other night, it's the same with the other guy, the evolutionist guy. He's talking about infinite energy in a dot, and again in the sentence, it's a contradiction. Infinite, and then in the very same sentence, he makes infinite finite by giving it a geometry and a limitation of a dot. If something's infinite, it's not contained and limited by anything. It doesn't have width, depth, breadth. You can't place it within a box and say there it's there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, thanks, Del. I appreciate it. Appreciate your response.
no worries, mate.
All right. Well, have a good one.
You too, bud. Cheers, my man. Right. Right. Next. Barbara. And then I see Flat Earth Fockers there as well. Let's see. That's Spanker.
Yeah.
Can I just give you that? Is that alright?
Aye, actually. I've stopped it now.
Did you?
You're still on.
I'm still on,
I have to say hi to Sonia.
Oh, Sonia, is she here?
Give her a thumbs up.
Stop trying to take my limelight, fuck off. Right. Now, as I said in the title, you're better only be coming in here if your arse is cleaned. I don't know if we need to see any practical reference so that we can have proofs that your arse is indeed clean. So we're waiting on Barbara. What made me question the Earth is not a globe? It was a sequence of events of years of getting into rabbit holes and being the victim of Illuminati and the big bad world and the evils and all that stuffs. And then I started to realise that I was projecting all that myself, and worked through aspects of that. As I say, people think, you should talk about this, talk about that, I mean, it's like I've been there and I can't be bothered with it. It just doesn't interest me. As I say, if anybody wants it, I've got terabits of stuff that you probably can't get online anymore. That will take you into all sorts of rabbit holes, but it doesn't get you any further. What people need to realise is that they have to centre themselves. They have to realise what's influencing their mind, influencing their psychological state, which in turn influences and drives their emotional state, and then it becomes a reciprocal, action where emotions are fueling thoughts, thoughts are fueling emotions, and people are getting trapped in this fucking never-ending cycle of victimhood. I mean, people need to start realising that you're the power. You can centre yourself, understand the apparatus, which is the physical body, and how your mind's processing stuff, and how you're partaking in that process or not partaking in the process, which can be detrimental to you, as the majority of people are experiencing right now. because they're swept up by ideas and concepts that are disempowering, that are no of their own volition, and they're buying into them and trying to make themselves fit into these, postulations, these concepts and ideas of existence and life and blah, 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 blah. So for me, it was a process of that. And as I've said before, it was a kind of dream thing for me, and then, unravelled from there. But I'm not going to get into that because saying dreams and stuff just doesn't work with people, but that's the reality of the situation. So anyhow, the first thing I went looking for was, how do you bend a body of water? And as I was typing it, I started to sweat and panic because I knew I wasn't going to find anything. Right there and then the penny dropped, and that's when it started. So you bend it with belief, that's exactly it. Exactly, John McLean. But sometimes you have to work through the baggage of the past. And that's what I spoke about in regards to psychedelics and these things before. For me, they played a good role in that. For internal reflection and having some internal realisations, they played an excellent role. But in regards to, figuring out anything bigger of what you're a part of, it was just of no use to me. And I had a conversation the other day regarding that again. You've got people who believe all sorts of things about their existence and where they are. They take these potions and ayahuascas and blah, 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 blah. There's never any spiritual guidance coming at them and saying, hey, by the way, you're not where you think you are. You better snap out of that and yada, yada. It's always abstract, fluffy, hairy-fairy nonsense. What if they are the metaphysical psychologists that are operating in that region, just trying to get you to accept the situation you're in and stay there? Just a thought. I've yet to see anything profound coming from anybody's trip experience in regards to the nature of our existence and what it's actually about. Other than it's kind of digital, cartoony, fucking mystical stuffs. It doesn't satisfy me, sorry. The only way humanity is going to get out the quagmire it's in is if individuals start taking responsibility for their own being. But they're victims right now. And, with an overinflated sense of entitlement. So, right now I highly doubt it. It's the same with me, natural, Natalie. Just self-reflection and realisations. That's what my experiences of it were. As I say, for that purpose, brilliant. And as a medicine, for that purpose, I think it's a very, very useful thing. Aye, Flat Earth Fucker, I'm waiting on Barbara. I've sent Barbara the link. Are you there, Barbara? I can see your picture. Can you hear me? Barbara's there, but I'm not hearing anything. Barbara, I'll leave this one open and I'll send a link to the next person in your... Were you there?
Yeah, I think I did. I had to change my microphone. Can you hear me now?
Ah, I can hear you.
Okay. How you doing?
No bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wondered what people were thinking about this flu stuff. Different places, what's going on. I, of course, have my opinions about the flu itself and the severity of the sickness. My concern is much more the way people are acting and what's going on with the people.
Uh-huh.
Because like as of 3 days ago, you couldn't buy toilet paper here. There was no hand sanitizers in any of the stores. You couldn't even get rubbing alcohol. I mean, the stuff is like, the shelves are depleted. And I'm wondering, before it got as bad as they're trying to say it is, and of course I don't think it's as bad as they're saying it is, what happened with trucks moving product? I'm not sure what other people are thinking, but I think there's more going on with this stuff than a mere sickness.
A mere what? Satanist?
Like a sickness.
What sickness?
I think that like there's more behind it.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Because, go ahead.
Social adjustment, social engineering. I mean, just look at it. As I said, people leave out the details. Here in the UK, you had the Prime Minister on mainstream TV telling everybody that it was only a small minority that the concern was for, that it was a concern for the elderly and a concern for people with respiratory disease, which is no different from any other time of the year. So they're telling you that, actively telling you that, well, and at the same time, everybody's up in arms causing mass hysteria so that these people are then offering a resolve for it. It's just social adjustment. There's other things coming from this. It's not about this supposed sniffles. That's not what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, that's like what I'm thinking too. It's
obvious, is it not? Is it just me? I mean...
And they keep changing like the story, because then this morning I was watching something where now they're saying that the real targets are like the 40-somethings, and the children don't appear to be getting sick.
Yeah.
But again, my problem with it is, like 4 or 5 days ago, or even go back a week ago, where's the supplies to the stores?
Mm-hmm.
Are people actually hoarding that much shit?
Mm-hmm.
Or is there not a lot of supplies coming in to these stores?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is probably intentional.
Yeah. Well, that's it for me. The whole game for me was to create civil unrest, because if you're going to implement a new system, a new world order, you have to incorporate increments in order to achieve that. So that's what's going to start happening. People will start turning on each other. As I said, not just the food chain and the food supply. There's all the other industry aspects, as I spoke about, like sporting events and yada yada. It's not just about the clubs or the teams of the sporting events. It's the subsidiary aspects. There's, like, if you go to a football match here, there's burger vans, there's pubs, there's transport. There's so many sectors that depend on these things for an income, and these people are operating from week to week. So they're going to start being affected, and it's going to have a knock-on effect. People are going to start getting stressed, irritated. If there's shortages in foods and entertainment to distract them, then people are going to start turning their attention on each other and take out their frustrations on each other. This is what animals do in the same situation. If you restrict food supply and resources and limit their movement, they start to bicker and turn on each other. So if you're going to achieve, a cashless society, a tracked society, yada, 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 you need to cause upheaval for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you said something interesting when you said, if you're depleting like the food supplies and stuff, and then at the same time you're depleting people's release,
yeah,
which is like a form of entertainment or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like very calculating.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
It's what I don't know, some years back I made a video where I called it like the zombie apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
People talk about this zombie apocalypse. Well, in truth, like, we're the zombies.
Yeah.
I think they'd be very happy to see us take each other out, so to speak.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
this is the thing, you've seen it obviously, Barbara, in regards to how vicious and upset people get when you question their beliefs in regards to
right.
certain aspects of reality, and that's, not really that massive when it comes to, a real necessity for intake of food and these types of things. Then how vicious do you think people are going to get? You know?
Extremely, basic needs.
Yeah.
And that's something else I used to talk about is that hydrolonic despotism, which is something they've used on people for a long time. If you cut off the water,
Yeah.
basically, people are screwed.
Aye.
Um,
But this is the thing for me. People need a wake up call and a shake. As I said, everybody rattles on about money, the power, the control, and you keep saying it. It's food. Food is the requirement for you to sustain your existence. That is the primary source of control.
yes. Yes.
And people are just overlooking it all the time and running about buying toilet roll.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, the last time I went to the store, like, you could see people were like snatching stuff up. They were acting like savages.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God, really? And that's all it takes?
Yep.
If they believe that there's something horrible going on, that's a virus in itself.
But you can see that in other aspects, Barbara. I mean, look at when it comes to like Christmas time and New Year, right? You've got this obsessive need to loot the shops for bread and milk because the corner shop's not going to be opened until 10 o'clock in the morning, and then you've also got the aspect of the shopping, where people will snatch and grab each other for useless bits of plastic and toys,
Yeah.
So you can see all that stuff in other areas when it's not even a time of necessity. So imagine what it's going to get like when it's a time of necessity.
Yeah, I mean, we're already feeling it here. I live in quite a small community. It's quite a small southern town, and they've had some cases evidently around here. Like an hour or so away, something like that. And then this morning, like they're confirming cases here.
Mm-hmm.
But they're shutting schools down. They're losing their shit.
I know, and it's like you talk about it being deliberate and stuff. Well, I heard. I don't know if it's true because I've not looked into it. But somebody was mentioning to me the day that in Dubai, apparently, how they're dealing with it. If there was something real, let's just say that there was something actually going on. Well, apparently the way they're dealing with it is they're restricting, so rather than having multiple entrances to certain buildings, like, public gatherings, they're restricting it down to a one access point, and they've got thermostatic, temperature readers, and they're basically scanning people for their temperature, and anybody that's showing signs of a higher temperature are being turned away. So it's like it doesn't take a genius to work out a better process for dealing with stuff like this. And then we see how they're dealing with it here. And it gives you a clue to either that they're doing it deliberately or they're just fucking retards that are running the show here, Because I say, if there's measures in place like Dubai and it's a system that's working for them, then why does everybody else not follow that? If there really was something,
Yeah, it's strange. And another thing I wanted to bring up, I don't know how anybody feels about it. It's like one of our new quarters in the United States has got a bat on it. And it's like, what are the chances? I don't know. I know I'm stretching really far. Mm-hmm. But what are the chances they're talking about this Wu flu, and it started with a bat. It was given to a pangolin, and all of a sudden the United States decides to make this god-awful looking quarter that has a bat on it.
I didn't know any of that. That's the first I've heard of that. It came from a penguin and a bat and all that stuff. But
a pangolin, it's a small mammal. Oh, they say that the bat actually gave the virus to the pangolin, mm-hmm. and that what they're saying is in handling, because they take these pangolins, it's illegal, and they sell them and butcher them for their scales, which are made of keratin.
Right.
So that's what they're saying between the handling and butchering process.
Well,
And
it's always the same. It's like this is where the disinfo comes, and everybody's got a different story, because I heard that it was initially, given to disperse the protesters and stuff like that, and yada yada. I mean, everybody's got a different story of how it came to be, but all that does is reaffirm in people's minds that there is actually something. If you create so many different stories of its origin, people overlook the fact of, is it actually real, and start clambering for the story of an origin, therefore giving it relevance and credence that it's actually something to be concerned about.
Yeah, you're right. I just think it's so strange. When you get a chance, like, Google the quarter I'm talking about.
Cool.
Look, we have a lot of quarters going around for the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But how beautiful is a bat, really?
It's beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
I suppose. Would you put it on a coin? And it just seems convenient that now we're dealing with this coin that has a bat on it, while people are supposedly getting this flu that they say came originally from a bat.
Well, I've just had a revelation in my mind, Barbara, talking about bats on coins, because obviously people are aware of the amount of stuff that's on toilet roll now. I mean, we've got puppies, we've got camels, we've got all sorts. So maybe that's the new monetary system. Maybe we're going to be trading in sheets of toilet paper. So as I say, the people that bought double quilted with aloe vera are going to be the new rich factor in society. There's a theory. Let's get Russian vids involved as well. Let's drag that. Oh, fucking hell! Aloe vera, the symbol of Masonic stuffs, and it's a new currency and all that. I mean, we can make any shite up. We can just pick stuff up and just make a fucking story out of it, and people will fucking believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't do it.
This is what I'm saying. This is again, it goes back to this stuff. We're not involved. Us as people, all this stuff of viruses and talks, yada yada. It's not our experiences. We're just hearing propaganda left, right, and centre, and people are trying to make sense out of it. Again, it just comes back to it for me. What's your experience? What is your hands-on lived experience of these things, in order for you to articulate and highlight and demonstrate the stuff that you feel is relevant to us? That's not happening. It's the same old fucking story. People hear what they want to hear. It tickles in their fanciful imagination, and they just run away with it and start spreading it everywhere. Same old stuff. But
yeah, that's the thing. I think that like the people who do stuff like this, I don't like to use the word they, because I have no idea who they are. I just know that there's like a presence that seems to like always create shite. However, they know that.
But it is.
They know that the masses are like, we're gossiping creatures.
Exactly. It's like people think that these people have got some magical power. When you go, no, human beings are fallible and gullible. You only need to offer them up a concept, a piece of misinformation, some propaganda, and people will grab it and run with it and turn it into something in itself. So you don't need this complex system of control and crazy scientists and laboratories coming up with methods of controlling the populace, because the populace are that fucking stupid they'll control each other.
Right. And I mean, in a lot of ways, I think that it's done innocently enough. I mean, I don't think that like people mean to be so. I don't know the word I want to use because I don't want to sound insulting, but I don't think it's like a vicious thing. However, we should learn over time that you can take the littlest thing, and next thing you know, it becomes vicious.
Of course. I mean, as I say, I can go to the shops tomorrow morning and, somebody can drop a packet of crisps on the floor And by the time I go there tomorrow morning, it was an armed robbery with a police chase and a helicopter and a shootout. This is just what happens with people, you know, and it always is the case, because this is what I say about in an objective arena. Why do we have all this innate drivel? You know, because it's all hearsay, it's all stories, it's irrelevant to the majority that, you know, of the population when they show us these wee snippets and these wee stories. But they make it, people make it relevant and adopt it. And again, it's no on their experience. It's got nothing to do with them. And that's how propaganda, you know, works. That's how these, you know, people achieve what they want to achieve, because people are fallible, they're gullible, and they're easy to manipulate. You know? So.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm just seeing, I'm not recalling a time as far as like in the United States where there was this kind of like panic with people. But what I do want to say is I don't believe that without 9/11, something like this would have been able to have been turned into the panic.
Well, I disagree. I disagree. Case in point, somebody just made a valid point there, and I brought that up before. I've thought about it. You know, we've had swine flu. You know, all these different things. We had AIDS. We had all this stuff all coming up for the 70s, the 80s. Yeah, where are all these things now? You know, it's like that capability has always been there. You know, and now because they want to implement and make change, they're making it a bigger thing. So, because they're incorporating everybody into it. But all these things previously, it was just testers for me. Just wee testers, just to see reactions, to see how far they can take it. You know? And now with this, they're pushing it the full hog. And it's no different from the rest of them. You know? We'll be sitting here in a year's time going, what happened with that? Fuck all. Usual. Other than, you know, obviously the other things they're going to try and implement through it. But it's certainly not about people getting the sniffles, that's for sure. That's not what my point is that's not what people's concerns should be. People's concerns should be, you know, the other aspects of what's going to be implemented because of it.
Yeah, you know? I agree. And I think that those things will come a lot faster than what we expect.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. You know?
I mean, it's quite possible we might start seeing some extreme stuff within the next couple of weeks, maybe.
And
it'd be nice if we didn't,
but for me, you know, this is it. It all comes full circle. The main priority for me is that we don't question the room, because that's the whole game. Because here's the thing: if we existed in some finite area, then if you're the bully and you have the guns and you have the power, you don't have to resort to covert, you know, means. You don't have to go underground and play this game of consent and subtle manipulation and all this complexity. You just point the gun and say, I run the playground and fuck you. Right? Because it's a limited area. Nobody's going to go anywhere. But the game for me is a subtle game of psychological, emotional and physical constraint that's willfully participated in by each individual, and the whole game is everything's fine as long as we don't question the room.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know, keep them occupied, keep them in fear, keep them anxious, keep them busy, you know, because the game's over if they start to realise that the room has more to it than what we've let on.
Yeah.
So that's it for me, you know.
Well, I won't keep you. I know there's other people wanting to like join. I just wanted to like hear your thoughts on it.
No, no worries. Cheers for coming on, Barbara.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
See you later on. That's it. If there's a study, it must be true. I read some words on a screen that suggested that it was a raccoon that had an upset stomach, skittered and sprayed its dire rumpus all over the place, and everybody's got a runny nose. Therefore, coronavirus came from the rectum of a rodent. Research. Someone's been knobbing a monkey again, aye. That's right. Is that not how they say the AIDS started? People were shagging monkeys and all that stuff, and then gay people go at it or something, I don't know. Hello.
Hey, Dal.
Really noisy again, mate. Really noisy.
It's really noisy. You hear a machine in the background?
No, it's alright now. It's just your volume's always really high, and I could hear some playback stuff going on there, but...
Oh, yeah, I had the volume on. I turned that off. Is it better now?
That's a bit better, aye. You're still really loud, but maybe it's just my volume on this. I don't know.
Do you hear a machine in the background? They're doing some cleaning.
No, I can't hear it.
Okay. How's that?
That's alright, aye.
I talk loud too. Nice sweater there. I like this Saturday night chill, just talking to people format you got going on. Hey, listen, I just want to entertain you for 5 minutes here on that guy that called from China. You know, this is a problem with the community here is why are people need to get so emotional about silly things? What's that all about? If you can just help me figure out why he's getting so triggered and angry.
I don't know, you'd need to ask the guy himself, but obviously he's inebriated, he's under the influence of alcohol, so that's never a good thing. And I don't have the patience or time for people under the influence, especially when they're irrational and erratic. You know, I've not got any patience for it. Because I'm not a drinker, you know, and as I keep saying to people, look, it's fair game if I come to you and I'm behaving like that, then fair enough, but, you know, I'm no. So I expect a wee bit of decency and manner when you're coming to a conversation, you know? So.
Well, exactly. Well, sometimes people, you know, they call in, they're all triggered, and it's like, what are you trying to point here? Like, oh, if you and I don't agree on some issues, let's just talk and try to be as civilized as possible.
Yeah.
And just have a discussion, right?
Well, that's it. It's always about attitudes with people, and if people come at me with a funky attitude from the off, then it's just going to trigger me into responding with a funky attitude. But if you come at me with decency and respect and manner, then I'm sick of telling people that. I'm just going to reciprocate what you give me. You know, it's fucking simple.
Well, exactly. Like, we can only be saints for so long, but when people are coming at us, you know, not with a stable mind frame, then it's no point in engaging them.
Yeah. This is it.
So, what was I gonna? So, you know, I mean, you were talking about mud floods and these giant animals and bodies and mountains earlier with the guy, and you're saying, well, how does that affect my life?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same thing when we talked a month or so ago about the Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it comes down to this, like, you know, if somebody's out there and they're saying, well, 9/11, who cares if it's an inside job? How does that affect my life?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the media is lying and doing fake shootings.
Let me stop you there, because it's a misrepresentation of what I actually said. It's not what I'm saying, how does it affect my life? It's in relevance to my life and relevance to the position I'm at right now. I mean, the relevant aspects is that I can see lies are being told, I can see inconsistencies. You know, so if I look at 9/11, there's inconsistencies The official narrative that they offered me is bullshit, but that's as far as I can go. All I can realise is that lies are being told, so that's where it ends for me. There's no point in me going round in circles trying to get closure or certainty or resolve with something like that, because it's out with my experience and I'm never going to be able to experience it. So there's a limit to how far it can go. So that's what I mean when I'm saying these things. And now I'm at this position, I'm asking, right, I'm going to listen and I'm going to entertain Mandela effects and yada yada yada. People are entitled to it, they can bring it to me, whatever. But when I ask the question, what's the relevance of it? How does it benefit me in any way, shape or form? It doesn't. There's nothing.
Well, I mean, I think this didn't pop into my head like a month ago. It's along the same lines of understanding that we're being lied to. I mean, you're right. We don't need to go around in circles. I looked into mud floods, 1 or 2 videos. I looked into these giants that became mountains, for an hour or so. And I understood there's something to that. And now I got to move on. Like, we're trying to figure out our life, but it's the same thing as the foundation of our understanding. If we think we live on a spinning ball, we're building our life based on that.
Well, exactly. That's why I keep coming back to it. Unless we have the foundational, building a house, like a house of understanding. For me, we start at the foundation. You don't start from the roof or inside a roof. You start from the foundation and then you build a chronology from there. So that's what I'm saying. Until we've established exactly where we are, where it is, what its position is, what it's part of, and our part within it, then all the other stuff's irrelevant.
Well, that's my point exactly. It's the foundation of understanding our life and what we're building it on. Because if we believe in evolution, or somebody believes in evolution, our subconscious mind, our psyche, is building a life based on that at the core.
Yeah, it's religion. It's a worldview. That's again, you say religion to people and they automatically jump to worshipping a deity, going to church, yada yada. No, religion is a worldview. It's a narrative. It's an existential story. And if you buy into it, then you're partaking in religion, which is a substitute for knowing.
Well, you're right about that. Okay, sorry, can you repeat that about the religion?
What I'm saying is that, when we mention religion, people automatically jump to this skewed picture of what religion is, and they categorise it as belief in a deity, going to church and yada yada. It's having a worldview, that being your worldview of your existence, just as you pointed out there, whether it be evolution, some sort of creation story, whatever it is. If you partake in that, it's a belief system, it's not a knowing, so it's a faulty foundation. And if you then pursue your life based on that foundation that you're building from, your life's a delusion, because it's not rooted in anything objectively true.
100% agree.
Yeah.
I'm exactly on board with that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, with all these other lies, there's people in this community that are just get caught up in whatever the lie is. I mean, I refer to it as, hey, they got a shiny new toy. I call it a dildo, and they're all excited to play with it, and they keep playing with it years later. Yeah. Well, it's not a new toy anymore. It's time to move on and build the next level. Yeah. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's the same thing, like 9/11, media lying, education, evolution, all of this. So if the Mandela effect is real, and we can disagree on this, if somebody's going to be honest with their opinion, and for me, I'm saying for myself, and I'm not pushing it on anybody, if they don't want to believe in it, if I know my memory has changed, here's something about the foundation of my reality, my existence, my life, something that's happening in my life that's going to affect my life. So if I know it for a certainty that some kind of phenomena is happening, then I could build the next layer, the second floor, or whatever, put on the drywall of the life of my house.
That's what I asked previously to somebody else. So, they changed the movie title, or there's a different memory, or whatever else. But what does that give you? What piece of the jigsaw and progress does that give you as an individual? I don't understand. So,
Okay.
if I take a case in point, it's no mirror, mirror on the wall, it's magic mirror on the wall, right? Where do I go with that? What does that even mean to me? Even if I say, okay, it's a timeline shift and all this stuff and these concepts are what people imagine's happening, I don't get where it goes. I don't get the relevance.
Okay, it's not about the fact that a movie title changed or whatever any of these thousand effects. Each of them don't affect my life. The fact that I learned to spell dilemma with a MN and it's never been that spelled this way. It's not about the individual effects. It's as a whole that something supernatural is happening where the past changed or the past as I remembered it changed. So forget about the individual symptoms because it's kind of like, well, NASA lies. How does that affect my life? It doesn't.
So it reaffirms for you that you're part of some spiritual, supernatural thing, and that's fine. I get that, but that's as far as it goes. All it does is break you out of the materialistic, reductionist thinking, the paradigm that we're involved in.
Well, I don't have the answers. All I'm saying is, but now that I've got that under my belt, I have a better understanding of this reality and I can move forward with that rather than being stuck in kind of the physical aspect of this reality. So for me in my life and my path, or anybody that's Mandela affected,
But
it gives us another kind of piece to the puzzle. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of putting the pipes in for the
because
plumbing.
a piece to the puzzle would be something that's resolved with a proper understanding that I can place. It's like if I make a machine, I don't put some abstract, ambiguous piece in that machinery and then say I've completed a piece of the puzzle. There has to be resolve and closure and proper understanding of it, and that's not there with these types of things. So I disagree with that. And somebody's, putting a comment there I just want to respond to in regards to, does understanding where you are help you to build relationships with people? Well, what is relationships with people? What do you mean by a relationship with somebody? What's your idea and your concept of love and relations? Is it based on what your culture taught you it should be? Is it something that's off your own back, that's a natural constitution part of your being? I mean, what are these concepts? Again, coming back to being born into a culture that's telling you and dictating to you what a relationship is and what's expected of you and what you should partake in. That's nothing. It doesn't give you any clarity. I mean, I can build relations with my children. I've got a relationship with them. I've got a relationship with my dog. I've got a relationship with all different people. That doesn't, that's something separate. That's a subjective world, a subjective realm. Metaphysics. It's got nothing to do with me establishing it as a physical entity, an understanding of the bigger picture of what I'm a part of. So people always do this. It's like they try and play it off. Like, there's only so far into the subjective that I can go where I can get some sort of semblance of understanding and see patterns and relationships and whatever else. But the question of what am I actually a part of here requires exploration of the external objective reality. That's the only way to ever get a further understanding of that point. But relationships and subjectivity, you can play with that until you're blue in the face. You're never going to get any real closure on it. You know what I mean? So I know that's not what you're talking about, Mike, but I'm just responding to the person in the comments because I'm sick of hearing this. I get this all the time. Oh, there's more to think about, there's this, that, the other. Well, who gets to say that? Because I'm saying to you, I've been through these things and I'm at the point now where there's no more internal trips and subjective fucking musings and cul-de-sacs of never-ending contemplation. I'm at a point now where I realise they're telling me bullshit about where I'm suspect of that, and now I want to find out part of the bigger picture. Where the fuck are we here? Before we enter into social structures and how we should live and how we should this, that and the other. Without that knowing, that's futile, it's just conceptual. It means fucking nothing. So sorry about the rambling.
I can see where you're coming from. A lot of life is speculation because we're learning that for myself personally, I learned everything's a lie. I had to go back and go, what is zero? What is one? What's 1 plus 0? What's 1 plus 1? Is it 2? Is it really 2? Like, that's where I had to go back to when I realized the education system was a lie and history's a lie. So I'm just trying to build the pieces. I don't have a definitive answer. I'm trying to, I'm almost 50. while I'm alive in this life, I kind of want to figure out what this life is all about. So when all these pieces of information I have to filter through and new realizations come to me, I kind of need to sift through that and digest it before I can move on.
But that's it.
Because it's the same thing like when I learned about the globe lie. I pushed it to the side for 3-4 months.
That's what I'm saying. There is a journey of your subjective and your baggage and previous experiences that you can resolve and have an understanding of. And for me, I've done a lot of that. And then I get to the point where that's no enough now. Now I'm asking back to the bigger questions. What am I part of? All this social gathering and interaction and relations and the complexity of subjectivity is a separate issue altogether. And a lot of that has been driven from the worldviews and the culture teachings that we've had before. And I can pinpoint that and I can see it. But that's where it ends. You know, now it's about where the fuck are we here? There's an obvious push to keep us distracted here within the contents of the room so that we don't go anywhere and we constantly chase our tails, battling each other with our beliefs and concepts and ideas and need to control each other. That's never going to resolve the bigger question. Do you know what I mean? Give me 2 seconds. I need to go and grab my fag papers here.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you light up. I'm vaping here. I agree. You know, we're trying to understand this, but if we're gonna I'm talking to the chat here. I don't know if you can still hear me, Del, but there's going to be bits and pieces to the puzzle. And for myself personally, if I discount that there's been some kind of a phenomenon shift, if I'm going to be honest with myself, and life is about being honest, I have to trust my memory. And it does mean something in relation to how I'm going to live my life and go forward. Because if I just stop discounting the fact that, hey, what happened to my life? Like things that I remember never existed in this life as a whole. Not specifically, not the fact like the Ford logo has never existed as the way I remember it, but as a whole, this is another tool I think that I need to implement in going forward in my life.
Yeah, are you happy?
Oh,
people want to see my ass. People want to see my hips. You want to be inspection? You want to see hips?
Very masculine.
Biceps. I see Jed's in the chat. Oh, check the biceps. No, ugh. Definitely a guy. Anyhow, sorry about that. What were you saying?
No worries, 100% man. Investigation done. Oh, no, I was just addressing the chat here that, you know, as we put these pieces together, it does matter that if my past has changed, because I have to go forward, that something for myself personally, that that reality is fluent from my point of view.
Yeah.
So that's got to affect like how I'm going to live my life. For me, that's another stepping stone down. But in terms of all,
I mean, what do you mean by living your life? I mean, I knew somebody was going to say that. A camel toe. Fucking knew it. Predictable. Get
it. Somebody said that?
Aye. Seen a camel toe.
Oh, there you go. Spanish chicken.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, Matt. Each to their own. You pursue whatever you feel you need to pursue. I'm just me. You're you, and this is a problem. You know, I don't go to people's platforms and try and control them and shut them down and tell them this, that, and the other, and what they should and shouldn't be getting up to. And that's always a problem. It's like this judgment and this need to control other people. It's fucking bollocks. You know, pursue whatever you want to pursue. You be you, I be me, and that's it. You know. But
yeah, but we can have a discussion as grown adults without getting like triggered. You know,
everybody's in fear. Everybody's needs certainty and wants to shut down anybody else that threatens their certainty. Well, that's just a sign of their insecurity. I couldn't give 2 fucks about that. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what I'm finding out with the Flat Earth, the truth community. You know, I thought we had some common ground to kind of come together and some understanding with is the fact that we're lied to and we're enslaved.
But you've got agent provocateurs running about the place, Matt. You've got agents of propaganda sowing seeds of doubt, focusing on personalities and tattoos and everything else bar the content, the subject matter that I've always been involved in, which is, establishing the dimensions of the earth. You get through the language and the bullshit that's been offered to us, and that's what happens. People start to shift their focus of attention onto persons rather than content, and that's always the case,
Well, that's why we need people like to keep it straight. I don't know if a lot of these people that you think are Asian provocateurs are. I think it's just human nature,
Well, there's
like
that
we're
as well.
talking about.
No, there is
People
that.
need-
There is that, but you get people who are deliberately, putting misinformation out there, muddying the waters.
But do you not think they honestly believe that, knowing humanity and knowing how stupid people are and how small-minded they are?
Well, case in point, you get the guy or whoever it is, Shills that makes videos about transgenders, and I'm a transgender. So do you honestly think that guy believes that?
I would lean 90% that he's a nutcase. And I've seen him in other chats, but we meet these kind of, the thing is, Del, I meet these kind of people in real life.
No, I've never met
every
anybody that's
day.
told me I'm a transgender.
Of course, they get caught up in some kind of a belief system and then they stick to it because they're small-minded morons.
But here's the thing as well, this is the thing that people overlook. The point that people should focus on with people like that is, well, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to isolate transgenders? Are you trying to, subject transgenders to hate? Because what's your material about? You're putting material out there as if it's a negative. Well, who gives a fuck? I couldn't care less if some man or woman decides that they want to chop their bits off and add bits on. It's none of my fucking business.
Well, that's exactly it, Del. These people are small-minded. They're not rational. They don't have common sense like I would hope I have and that you have. And that's what I'm learning every day when I have my interactions. People don't think like me.
But the problem is, again, is that these people are entitled to that. Again, I don't want to shut them down. They can be who they are. That's my whole point. Just live and let live. Let them be what they want to be.
Yeah,
right?
but that's sorry to cut you off. That's their insecurity. That's what I chalk it up to. They need to come on this platform and be heard because they're insecure, emotionally retarded morons.
Yeah. Well,
so 10%. There's a small chance these guys could be shills, J-Trig agents. But with what I know in life, like just the guy right now doing the work, he wants to go and get a test because he's feeling a little sore throat. He wants to go tested for the coronavirus. I spent 10 minutes trying to talk to him. I got nowhere with him.
No.
Is he a shill for the medical system? No. He's just a small-minded, insecure moron that's fucking completely indoctrinated by what media tells them.
Well, all of us are experiencing that. My two daughters are running about in panic and fear with coronavirus as well. They've had my influence speaking to them since they were children, and they're still getting caught up and swept up by it. It just happens. It's, as you say, humans are fallible. They're susceptible to fear and anxiety because that's the lifestyle that they're living. So, it's happening to all walks of life in different variants and complexities. So, that's it. But when I see consistency and misinformation and deliberate, misrepresentation, deliberate lies, then no, I'm going to call that as agent provocateur. It's known, it's what happens, it happens through the mainstream. We see it continually as a tactic that's used. So to try and chalk it up to just human nature is naive. Because there's organised aspects of that.
Well, the thing is, I have personal friends that I've been debating with for 3 years that are pushing the same shit that Nat Geo and Discovery Channel and mainstream media and all these, shill videos on the internet and Neil deGrasse Tyson says. Now, are these people in my personal life government agents? No. But they're saying the exact same thing. Yeah. So that's what they're indoctrinated with. And I see a lot of people come on the internet doing the same thing. I almost think they don't need government agents because we're going to do it to ourselves. Exactly. People are just going to parody what they hear, and they're going to come across it as agents because they're just going to say the exact same thing that they hear on TV. Like, how many people ever run into my life in all my flat smacking or activism that just recite what they heard Neil deGrasse Tyson say, and they think it makes them feel smart. But they're not getting a paycheck from the CIA or Neil deGrasse, but they're parroting that.
That's evident in my university interactions. As I say, these people are not actively, participating in lying. But what you highlight is that they don't have any reason. They make these mantric statements and regurgitate their stuff just as you said. And when you try and pull them into a line of reasoning of where that comes from, they start to realise that they don't really understand what it is they're talking about, which is culty and highlights a real issue as far as I'm concerned. So, as I always say, not everybody's actively lying. People only know what they need to know. Because their focus is on self-indulgence, maintaining their lifestyle, getting from one paycheck to the other so they can go on holiday or go to the pub or go wherever, because that's where their focus of attention is. So they're not paying attention to these things. It's only when somebody like me speaks to them, it brings their attention to it. So that's the benefit of proper activism and people speaking to each other, because what it does is allow people to bring their attention to things that they've never put their attention on before,
Yeah. And you know what? All your activism, it seems like we've planted a seed. But if you ever go follow up with these people, they've glitched back into the same kid's racetrack.
Yeah.
That's just the way their brain operates. Because I've had numerous, dozens and dozens of repeat interactions with the same people. And just when I think I cracked it, I planted a seed and I watered it, next time I come back, they're back to ground step one, regurgitating, repeating what they heard. Their mind can't step to the next level and take the conversation discussion to the next level.
Yeah.
They didn't go and ponder mile square times 8 inches and bendy water.
No.
They just didn't. They didn't go look at and explore that NASA's full of fakery. They didn't. And the next time I run into, it's the same freaking argument. It's like Groundhog Day.
Well, that's why for me you've got to get smart and try and sharpen your arrows of how to affect if you're going to interact with people. There's methods for impact as far as I'm concerned. But as you say, the people will opt for bias confirmation. You can make them doubt their bias at that moment, but what they'll do is they'll go online, they'll find something that reaffirms their bias, and that's all they need. They're then back to again looking to the next paycheck, taking their girlfriend out for dinner, going on holiday, whatever. So
well, exactly.
But that's why repetition and keeping up the presence and continually being active in it and speaking to people every single day is how you wear it down and make the change happen. It's not going to happen overnight just because you or I spoke to one or two individuals on a street in an afternoon. That's not how it's going to happen. It's going to take for everybody to be active in it, to fully understand it, empower themselves in it, know it inside out, so that then they can articulate it continually and consistently over and over again. Just like the lie does. The lie has its mantric statements, it's bullshit, and it repeats them over and over and over again.
Well, like I said, I've had half a dozen interactions with some people, and unfortunately, it doesn't get anywhere. And I've sharpened my skill, like from 3 years ago to now. I credit a lot to listening to you. I like to think of myself kind of a combination of you and Jaron from Jaronism, like that's where I'm working towards in talking to people. Dude, I didn't know what logical fallacies were. I went to university and I didn't know what logical fallacies were until you started talking about it on your show, like totally understanding them. So yeah, we got to sharpen our sticks, but I personally, after all these years, have come to the conclusion that some people will never wake up. As much as we want to say we should get better, I try different approaches, the soft one, like whatever the approach might be to get them to think. People just aren't able to wake up, and it becomes evident not in the one interaction. It's in the follow-up and the second follow-up and the third follow-up. That's when when the rubber meets the road.
It's just because it's ego, mate, and you don't have the stature that appeals to their, fallacious reasoning, because you're not an authoritative figure. And this is the problem that you're always going to have. And it's the same for me. I can be reasoned and articulate, and I can shock them, and throw them off guard because they're no they don't suspect it from you and whatever else, and that can play a role in it. But at the very same time, they can chalk it up and just hand wave dismiss you because you don't represent a perceived authority to these people. But again, this is why repetition and keeping at it is hugely important, because eventually they're going to go, hang on the new, that's no going away. That guy is continually here and he keeps coming back. So eventually they're going to have to face it.
Mm-hmm. Just wanted to touch on. Sorry, somebody. So you're talking like, I agree with you. We need exploration. We need to find out what's at the north, what the dimensions of this place is. But we're not going to be able to do that as individuals. We need to, like, this is where I know sometimes you bash, like, oh, FE unity, and I know you've bashed it in the past.
No.
But the only way we're going to take on this system and accomplish some of these exploration goals is come together with some sort of an understanding and some sort of teamwork with that goal in mind. And you're right. People want to go off in every direction. Like, we need to do this, we need to do that. And that's not productive.
But you're missing the point. There's a huge difference between unity in regards to the topic. Where the unity for me comes with the topic is people articulating the facts with no muddying of the waters, with no added on drivel, blah, blah, blah. That's why, I refuse to get involved with other people. I don't have to get involved. We don't need to have conglomerates and organised groups and bands of people. That's not what it's about, particularly when these bands of groups and people have misinformation within their ranks. Right? And then when you question them, what do they mean by unity? And you get ambiguous attacks and slander of your character and this, that and the other, I become suspicious of that. The truth doesn't need an organisation. The truth doesn't need a band of merry men. It doesn't need any of that. What it needs is articulated individuals who know how to articulate it and represent it properly. That's where the power is. That's the unity that I'm talking about. No, let's have a hug and go on a big group fucking task. That's bollocks.
I agree with you. That's total bollocks, because it's not going to get us anywhere. We need smart people, but we also need a destination. And if the destination is exploration and understanding the dimensions of this place, then that's the goal we should work towards. And sitting around and hugs and love my fam, my flat earth family, all this fucking nonsense, that's not going to get anywhere. I'm 100% in agreement with you.
That's what I'm saying. So when I've had these people previously and I've tried to question them on their professions of unity while they've got misinformation within it, and then I'm being met by attacks and blah, 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 all of a sudden I become the bad guy.
Well, we got to ignore that. See, I chalk that up like, I just kind of bite my tongue on that and understand these people are misguided and not fully touch with their emotions.
Because it's not just about misguidedness. These people in these groups were organised in their attacks en masse on my character, right? That's no unity, compassion, understanding and all the stuff that they're professing. It's the total fucking opposite. So...
Which group are you talking about? Sorry.
Well, I'm not going to start bringing it all back up again because there's no need to, but that's my experience, and anybody that was involved at the time knows that that's what happened. I never made hit piece videos on these people. I never went on to bands of hatred and hate campaigns to slander people's characters. They done that to me because I was highlighting and asking questions of what they were professing.
Yeah, well, people are weak. Like, that's what I find. Whether they know the truth or not, they haven't lived I don't know what kind of life they've lived, but they haven't worked on their emotions and they don't know how to deal with things like that. So they need to attack.
What I would say to you is that this is massive. There's huge investment in this bollocks and to contain us and keep us here. And to think that there's not going to be organised groups of provocateurs is naive at best, Mac, to be honest with you.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm saying the enormity of this and the relevance and the importance of this, to think that there's not going to be groups of propaganda and organised groups trying to coerce and control, grassroots movements and free thinking is naive.
No, I'm open to the possibility that's happening, but I want to focus on the goal. It's like if I'm playing hockey with another team, they're gonna check me. but my goal is to play with my team and put the puck in the net. Same with soccer, football.
But your team,
the other team,
but
the
my
other team's
team,
gonna.
but this is the thing, Mac. My team in this regard is the truth. No organised groups of other people, because I'm not responsible for other people, and getting involved in groups with them is not going to achieve anything. Who I'm aligned with and what I have unity with is the truth, the bare facts. So as long as, you as an individual represent the bare facts, me as an individual represents the bare facts, and everybody else, that's unity.
Yeah, but okay, that unity, how is it going to get us to explore the North Pole, South Pole, and find out this world?
Because right now we have to get people to realise that we don't have the logistical capabilities right now, Mac. So you have to work towards building and having more logistical capabilities in order to achieve that. So right now, you and I know and we're aware of certain things, but the majority of the populace are unaware.
Well, I'm going to stick to my opinion that the majority, the people that have woken up and care are already woken up. They're not out there. The field has been, what do you call it? The mine has been mined. We've got all the gold we're going to get out of it. Now it's a matter of there's nobody else out there. So now it's a matter of the people that know the truth and care need to come together, and we need to talk about this message.
You're defining
Stick to
that
the
line.
truth.
You're arbitrarily defining a line and making that statement, and I'm disagreeing with you because it's not.
Yeah, we can
it's
disagree.
far from that yet. There's billions of people out there that can still be reached. So
well, there are. We could agree to disagree on that, and I'm open to admit that I'm wrong down the road. I'm open. I'll say in a year, 2 years, 5 years, I'll say I was wrong and I had the wrong opinion. But I think we have to make do with what I have. If you're making a soccer team there in Scotland, you're going to go around and get the kids from your neighborhood. You're not going to go down to Manchester to recruit some players right now. If you're going to play in the league right now, you got to do with what you have.
That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point in regards to the activism thing. People need to take it on themselves to do it locally and speak to each other as communities. No taking a band of merry men into town centres where it's a bunch of strangers and acting like fucking religious zealots with megaphones and screaming and shouting with misinformation. So, anyway.
I don't agree with that as well. I don't agree with that.
That's fine. But I appreciate you coming on, Mac. It's been a decent chat, mate.
Yeah, it was a good chat. I appreciate you having me on. I enjoyed that, and we'll talk again in the future. 100% in agreement with you, Del, on 90% of what you say, and it's all about the truth, and it's all about the fact that we're slaves, and we need a better life, and what's the destination? I'd like to see it for myself, and yourself, and your kids, and my kids, and everybody's kids and their grandchildren.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's what's in my mind, and I'm just trying to figure out logical ways to get there within my lifetime. It may not be possible, but that's the goal I have, and I think to have the goal and destination is important to accomplish anything.
Well,
unfortunately, you're right. A lot of people on our team are weak links, and they want to go astray and on tangents, and that's not going to help us achieve our goal.
That's it. Well, you just be you, mate, and I'll be me. And that's
awesome.
It. The truth. It's singular. So, cheers.
All right.
Cheers, my man.
Peace out.
Take it easy. I know, Bill. Right, email requests. Shall we have a mad half hour? If anybody else wants to join me, singular, you need to send an email. I'll give you a couple of minutes, see what the chat box is saying, and then we'll have the mad half hour where people can come on and call me a penis or a cunt or whatever they feel makes them feel better. Well, somebody sent me an email. Wait a minute. In fact, it was in regards to Alwyn and Brian. Right, so he sent me this thing, memes. It's not letting me change them. So the first meme is spirit level on an airplane. During cruising, an airplane is practically level or flying perpendicular to the direction of gravity. No, it's not. It's flying straight and level flight and trying to maintain it in reference to the earth beneath, which is assumed to be a level plane. The diagrams, angle of approach, angle of attack, takeoff, tracking it is all done on a graph with a baseline that is the neutral, eco, level, and then they can track elevation, they can approach with the right angle, they can take the attack angle off, but this is the same bullshit. Ooh, a spirit level, when it goes round the earth like that, the bubble stays in the middle because it's perpendicular to the centre of gravity, a conceptual, idiotic, non-force that doesn't do anything, has no interactions with anything whatsoever, just an arbitrary fucking conceptual mathematic gibberish to hold together an idiotic worldview. So, spirit level means when you start from level here and you move and maintain level, it will show that you are level. As soon as I start from level here and I go like that, the bubble's going to go and show me that I'm no level. What they've done with their sophistry in instances like this is they subtly redefine level to mean exactly what they put there. Perpendicular to the direction of gravity, and when you look at that, it's a curved line, which means a deviation in elevation from one point to another point, which is no level in actual reality. So that's that meme busted, easy peasy, because it's gibberish. Same again. Oh, she could perpendicular to gravity, that stuff, and gravity makes it account for itself and all this rubbish. So again, if you're flying over the fucking Pyrenees and you get to a fucking sheer drop of 10,000 fucking feet, does a plane go like that? Boom! No, it fucking well does not. So level is no deviation in elevation from any given point to another point. Same altitude. Curves are no the same altitude. Curves means if you start there and you move anywhere on a sphere Earth, your altitude must decrease from the starting point you were at. This is why they have to invoke mathematical descriptors of level, no real world practical demonstrations of level. You don't go into a builder's yard and say, oh, by the way, level's perpendicular to the force of gravity, so therefore the foundations of that big building a quarter of a mile long are no straight, it's curved. So say, get any of these morons to go into the real world and start telling all the laymen and the practical people and everyday practical jobs that level actually means a curve. Because I want to see them booting your stones up and down the street. Exactly. Level equals curve. Fucking idiots. So that's what people need to understand. Again, it's based on language and mathematical axioms and what they're assuming, where they're getting them from. So that's what the sneakiness of them. They redefine level to suit their wee conceptual model of reality. Whereas level definition in real world practical terms is how I just described it. Now, bendy Euclidean triangle stuffs. I don't know, Emerald Rider. It's because I'm part of the satanic Illuminati cabal. So what they done, right? They imprinted Illuminati satanic symbols on me, and then they extracted my DNA and they grew children in a lab, so that when it came to this point, I would have an alibi that I'm not a transgender because I've got children and the children look like me. So therefore, it throws you off the scent that I'm really a transgender, satanic baby eating fucking Freemason or something like that. And I've got 33 of them, that's right. 33 test tube grown children. Or just to fool you, couple of hundred people that are watching me. This is how absurd it gets in this fucking idiotic world of conspiracy imagination. Right, 33 toes on each foot. It sounds like a plot. From what? Hollyoaks? What's that? It's a TV programme, isn't it? I know, V. Thomas, I should have told you. Thought you'd have guessed it. I mean, it's just like every other secret society or, black ops type things. I mean, guys in the SAS have got fucking SAS tattooed across their forehead. It's just to double think and throw people off. Well, if it was a real SAS, he wouldn't put SAS in his head. Oh, but he's double thinking you because he knew, he really is SAS. So by putting it on there and then... There's 330 watching as well, I know. So it's everything, it's all lining up. The universe is lining up to show you the clues. It's a double bluff, Ziggy Stardust, that's exactly it. Exactly it. Now you're confused. Now you don't know. Oh fuck. Is it really a double bluff? Oh no. Is he really? Is he could be. Let me see that camel toe again. Driven south to the land of the snow and ice, to a place where nobody's been. Through the snow fog flies on the albatross. I don't even know what that is you've sent me. Who sent me this? John Taylor. The cult sent me this in their head. It is accurate representation of curvature. Utterly retarded. It's just a picture of a fucking straight line with a semicircle drawn on it. I don't even understand what it is they're trying to show you. To be honest with you. Right. I'll just stick this in the chat. I'm going to shut down my email, so if you've sent an email now, it's too late. I'm going to have a mad half hour. See what happens. I'm using tap water now, but I'm going to use rainwater. Jacqua. Am I even saying that right? Jacquois. Jacqua. That was that Jem Panda. Remember that shoot, Lundy? Showed a video of a fucking inflatable ball in a swimming pool and said, there you go, that's how standing bodies of water can bend round a ball. Fucking hilarious. I even seen some moron the other day dipping a tennis ball in water. Dipping a tennis ball in water and then dabbing it on a sponge or a piece of toilet roll and saying, there, that's it, globe Earth's proved. Right, so the link's in the chat box if you want to join me. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. I'm sure I'll be cutting about somewhere, Neil. I'll be cutting about somewhere. Schmiegel. Call him Schmiegel now. Hello. How's it going, mate? You there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you alright.
Good. Yeah, I sent you a link request, but you know, I've got a link now, so don't. I joined anyway.
Okay, your sound's really bad tonight. You sound kind of muffled.
Oh, it's better now.
A bit better.
Yeah, hold on. It's using the sound of this microphone, but it should be using the one from my laptop.
But it sounds a bit better now that you're holding it up.
All right. What about now?
It's just the same.
Oh, okay. I'll just hold it here.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, this whole creator concept, whatever it might be. My head just goes straight to, but it can't. What a creator? Where does that come from?
Yeah.
It can't be something from nothing and that created us. It doesn't make sense to me, you know.
No. Finite stories like that they don't make sense because you end up back at a point of no thing.
Yeah.
Which is, counterintuitive, illogical, stupid, and has no basis to anybody's experience whatsoever because something does not appear from nowhere, from nothing.
Right.
There's always something causing something else and blah, 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 blah. So when I hear these stories, I automatically look at it and say, well, it ends up at a point of finite, which destroys itself because you're having to invoke magic from nowhere for no rhyme or reason.
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. But then again, it leaves me with nothing, basically. I'm like, I want to know. I want to know what this fucking place is.
But that's my point as well. I want to know. Well, it's like I can have the realisation that I'm part of something bigger, but when I actually play on it and I say, how much of it could I actually know? Now, if we're talking about, again, something infinite and eternal, there is no way to ever box that to have a full understanding. So to continually pursue a want or a desire to know it as its entirety is a futile endeavour, as far as I'm concerned. And I think it comes from it's one of these pursuits that stems from insecurity again, and that insecurity drives the need to try and have some certainty. So that's why people constantly pursue it. Whereas, I can take it so far. I can say, okay, I realise I'm part of something like that. I know I'm never going to know it fully. So all I can do now is have my experience and pursue as much as I possibly can in regards to the experience I'm having right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And I've been thinking about that as well because if the purpose of this whole thing is to just experience something, and if it's a good experience, something you genuinely enjoy, then you wouldn't be wondering about where it started or
Yeah.
where it's going, because you're like, oh, fucking hell, this is a good place. So
Exactly.
you're just having a great time. But right now, I'm not having a great time. So then the question comes up, where the fuck is this going? Where did it come from? And the rest.
Yeah. No, there's something not quite right with the experience. But again, whether it's a good experience, a bad experience, I think that lies the key. It is an experience. But we keep placing good, bad, and these things upon it. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you just don't know the entirety of your existence and what the bigger picture is. An experience is just an experience, regardless of what it is. Maybe that's the key to it. It's just the experience of physicality. To have an experience of momentary, sections of limitation. I mean, it could be anything, and it doesn't matter whether you're, a multi-millionaire, apparent success, or a poor person, or a whatever. Experience is just experience. But as people start placing an expectation of, good and bad, and and reflecting on everybody else's experience to define their experience. Do you know what I mean? You're missing the point. Experience is just experience. I always use that analogy of the fairground ride. When you go on the fairground ride, you go in there to have the experience of the ride. You're not in control of it. And it doesn't matter whether you're having a good time or a bad time. The fact of the matter is you're going to get from one point to the other, and there's going to be an experience in between. But while you're on there, you don't start saying, what does this mean? How does this transcend the experience, and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's futile.
Aye.
Yeah. But, I mean, do you understand that when you're not enjoying the experience, that you start to think like, hold on,
Yep.
Why am I not enjoying this?
Yep. That's exactly it. Because the analytical mind for me, it's like I only want my analytical mind to be there in regards to a problem of my experience. Like, how do we make something so we can cross that river? How do we rectify this problem? I don't want to have to analyse subjective methods of manipulation and fucking control and all this fucking stuff that's hindering, free expression and exploring yourself and creativity and these types of things. Just as you say, it's because of the manipulation and the need to control. It stops that flow, which then in turn causes people like you and I, because the system's not there for everybody to have the maximum. There's going to be limitations to what you can achieve. So therefore we start analysing, because relationships are dysfunctional, there's traumas going on left, right and centre. These are things that your attention's been pulled towards because it's in your face,
Yeah, definitely, yeah. It's definitely in my face.
So it's like there's something else that's not quite right here, and that's why, for me, that your mind's at that analytical point. It's not just analysing how you solve a puzzle in regards to, some experience you're having in your day-to-day life. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking annoying, because I'm like you. It's like if I look at myself, I say, what am I really? I'm just a thrill seeker. I just want to have pleasure and have joy and these types of things that, I don't want to have to deal with all that shit. But it's there, and it's constantly put in my fucking face all the time.
Exactly, and then when I found these problems, I tried to analyze them and find the cause and basically fix it.
Exactly. And that's
But I keep coming to the point where I'm like, I can't find the cause, or when I can find it, it's like I can't do anything about it because it's so massive that I on my own cannot fix.
Yeah, exactly.
So I keep running into that wall, and it only makes me fucking depressed and losing my will to live. So, yeah, I mean, fucking hell.
I know, mate, I know. But you're still here, so you've got a determination. You still have that.
Yeah, I'm a tough bastard.
No, I'm the same. I'm the same. It's like, no, I'm a nosy bastard. I'm curious, and I'm determined, and I'm going to keep pursuing this. you know,
Right.
for as
Yeah,
long
but
as I'm here.
it's certainly not easy for me, at least, you know.
No, it's not easy for any of us, mate. I'm the same. I don't have a lavish lifestyle. I'm on the breadline. I'm living from one day to the next, 1 week to the next, just managing to tread water enough to keep yourself going. And the majority of people like that. So I says this to you the last time. Don't feel as if you're isolated, mate, because it's just because I've got a partner and I've got children and blah blah blah. That just brings added stress. But I'm still at the same place as you. You know, it's like.
Right.
There's no free living here. There's no proper free expression and good structure that's nurturing and warming and understanding. It's not there. It's been eroded. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And I often sort of recognize within myself that I'm like, you know, what if I could get a girlfriend and we could do stuff and I'm it sometimes I just think that maybe that's the fix, but like you say, you have all that, but there's still something missing, something.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that I will come to that same conclusion. I mean, I really don't know for sure, but it sounds like that.
For me, it's about managing myself. So it's like I have that, and it's prominent, and it's always the underlying questions and drive. But at the same time, I have to detach myself and have some indulgence into everyday kind of existence of my partner, my children, going walks to the park, indulging and going out on my motorbike, because it's a release, it's a time for just letting go and no thinking about anything. So as I say, there's nothing wrong with indulging in these things as long as you're consciously aware of what you're participating in, and it's not ruling you impulsively. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
So, I mean, make of things what you will. You're in control of your own being, and you can have in your life whatever you want to have in your life, and have whatever relationship with anything that you tell yourself, because it's all comes to you at the end of the day. You're in control of your faculty, and you're your own influence. So.
Right. Yeah, I definitely enjoy riding my bike.
Exactly, mate.
Yeah, it puts me somehow. It just stabilizes me because when I'm riding, I mean, even though I really hate the road system over here, it's extremely stressful and there's a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
So it makes it a very exhausting thing to do often.
Yeah.
But when I do, I just seek the quieter roads, and I just enjoy just only focusing on the riding and nothing else. So
that's the thrill of it, when you're in that moment. As I say, that shows you the key for me to life is having your attention and focus on things you're passionate about. Because in that moment of riding the bike at high speed, and you're focusing,
you're worrying about what if you're going to make it financially.
Exactly, you're focusing your attentions purely in that moment, and that's it. And that's where I feel at my best, and I'm sure other people can relate to that. But that's the problem with this system we have. It's no a nurturing, of liberty and free expression. People are trying to push themselves into these avenues that are, detrimental to them. So they're no living like that in the moment of enjoyment and being enthralled. They're no there. No, everybody. There might be some people, but no everybody.
Yeah, they're worried about financial things mostly. Yeah. Because every problem I encounter in my life, even with other people, is that it's almost always a money problem.
Yeah.
The cost for fuel, the cost for repairing the car, for example, or the house, or selling the house, buying another house, or not being able to buy another house.
Yeah.
Because of many complex reasons.
Exactly, mate.
So it's always, I mean, to be fair, there is a lot of stuff to worry about in this thing called life,
Well, but only when you put the importance on it, mate. Again, if you make it important and you have a certain relationship with it, then you're going to experience it like that. you know?
Yeah, but that doesn't take away the fact that at the end of the day you need money to for food and
Yeah,
the whole thing.
no, I agree, mate, I agree totally. And again, we're born into a situation of captivity, if you like. You know, we don't have the proper education in order to go and sustain freely and have that independence, blah blah blah. You're born into dependency, and you become accustomed to it. It becomes your way of life, and you're focused on chasing these delusions or trying to find your niche or your whatever, and all that stuff goes unnoticed. And it's that simplicity for me that you get the real nourishment, you know, being with your family, you know, partaking in activities with people that you care and respect and blah blah blah. But nobody has time for any of that because, as you say, the pressures of, you know, limitation and having to have this monetary, this paper fiat currency shite that's driving everybody, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I constantly try to in people around me try to, well, I don't want to call it waking them up, but placing the attention or letting them know that you know everything is dependent on that damn money.
Yeah.
And that they're so that everybody is in under the control of it.
It's because it ties back into the globe and limitation and limited resource and all these stories that allows these things to take hold because everything's limited. So only a few can hold the power and the rest have to just make do and blah blah, rather than it being no, we're all equal and resource should be shared equally. Advancements, information, tech should be shared equally and freely amongst everybody so that we all get the benefit out of it. But it's this structure of hierarchy and stature that allows a few to accumulate mass wealth and then start controlling and dictating to the rest because they want to maintain their slice of the pie. You know,
right.
So it's
and what I talked about with some of my family is that, for example, take the concept of gold or diamonds. You know, if the value of gold or diamonds is determined by how much there is, what if they come across a big fucking mine of a shitload of gold? Do you really think that suddenly the value of gold goes barrel? No. I don't.
No.
Because they would like, oh fucking hell, shit, find a shitload of gold, keep it quiet, you know, and just take all that gold out and sell it.
We attach to these things and make them valuable. They don't have any value. You know,
that is wrong.
It's like if you strip it back to a family unit and you say, right, okay, I need to go and get some food for the family. I don't take it as a commodity and say, right, now I'm going to hold this here so that I can control my family members and make them behave in the way I want them to behave. No, you just share it freely. You say, we've got food, we've got enough here, let's eat. Right? Yeah. So just keep extrapolating that. Why do we not keep that same attitude in regards to everything? You know, what do we require? What's the necessities? Share it freely. And anybody that tries to fucking usurp that and take it as theirs and take ownership over it, they should be for the fucking watching. Get them to fuck. You know?
I agree, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, and of course, like you say as well, the concept of attaching value to gold or diamond or anything else, yeah, that's also just subjective, and I don't know where it comes from. Because, to be honest, a diamond isn't. I mean, I can.
Well, it can start with anything. Yes, it can start with food, as I say. It's like, well, you know, I've caught 10 fish today. You never caught any, so now I've got the upper hand over you. Now I can barter with you and say, well, I'm not giving you fish until you give me something. You know, right. So all of a sudden you need to find something, and then we start this trading aspect. But I've got the benefit because I know how to catch more fish than you every single day. So I'm going to continually keep accumulating that. You're going to have to keep giving me something. So I accumulate more and more and more and more and more. And that's how it starts. It can start with food, and then all of a sudden it becomes, oh, but we've created this thing that's of value because we say so. You know, and you require it. So now I've got something to barter with you with. And then it just becomes, you know, what we have now, where we have, idiotic pieces of paper that don't have any value whatsoever, and we're all running about trying to get it so that we can buy useless tat for
Yeah.
the little box that we fucking live in, that we spend 2 hours a night in before we go back to our slave job again the next day. Fucking idiotic.
Yeah. And I mean, what I was trying to say was, I mean, I don't even like the diamond. I mean, it's just transparent stone. That's just it. That's just it. But for some reason, it's really expensive, and there are all these cunts running around like, oh, I want a diamond ring, you know.
I know.
And I'm like, oh, he can't marry me if he doesn't give me a diamond ring. You know, I mean, for fuck's sake, it's just a transparent stone. I can think of way more beautiful stones.
Well,
Of course,
that goes back to the coronavirus thing, as I was talking about with Barbara. You know, how easy it is to get people to attach to these things. Like you say, a diamond becomes this propaganda value, and all of a sudden people take it on board and clamber to have this so that they can have one-upmanship on their fellow. My diamond's 5 times bigger than your diamond. I mean, what the fuck?
Mine is 1 inch.
That's how easy it is. Tell them it's valuable, limit it, and now they're going to fight each other to get it, and we have the upper hand. Simple.
Yeah, but to be honest, if I put myself into the position of the person who has the diamonds and sells them, if there are people so stupid to actually buy into that, I could somehow understand that there are people out there with the diamonds and they're like, oh, fucking, these people are so goddamn stupid. We can just, you know, make use of them. I mean, you know, get what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't do that, but I can somehow understand that there are people who do not respect the people who buy into the, you know, oh, diamond is fucking expensive, so I want one.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of understand it.
Exactly. I know. Yeah, but well, listen, mate, it's getting to that point for me. I'm going to knock it in the head, but I appreciate you coming on as always, my man.
All right. I appreciate the chat, mate.
No worries, buddy. All the best.
All right. Cheers.
See you soon, mate. Same goes for everybody else this evening, even those that think I'm a cunt. I still appreciate you. I accept you for you. Call me a cunt if you like. Your use of language and calling me a cunt does not define me as a cunt. Cheers, everybody. Much appreciated. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye now.